A reading from the Gospel of Matthew. Then Jesus told his disciples, "If any want to become my followers, let them deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. For those who want to save their life will lose it, and those who lose their life for my sake will find it. For what will it profit them if they gain the whole world but forfeit their life? Or what will they give in return for their life? For the Son of Man is to come with his angels in the glory of his Father, and then he will repay everyone for what has been done. Truly, I tell you, there are some standing here who will not taste death before they see the Son of Man coming into his kingdom." This challenging message of Jesus, which we do hear many times in the Gospels, and here today we are hearing it in the context of Jesus having, just prior to this, having foretold his death. And you'll recall that Peter gets in front of him and says, wait, no, let's not be rash. And we all know that famous line Jesus says, "Get behind me, Satan, for you're not setting your mind on heavenly things, rather on earthly things." And so this hits a little different when you recognize that Jesus is not only applying this to us, his followers, he's applying it to himself. He's saying, don't grab for the low-hanging fruit. Don't shortcut God's work in your life. Don't shortcut all of the depth and the richness of life that you're called to by trying to limit any kind of risk or trying to go for the easy win. Jesus is saying that the process is the prize here, that following in the way of Jesus, following in the way that God has laid out, following in the way of the law of the religious community, that is where true life is found, not by shortcutting to some outcome that you think is giving you the leg up or giving you an outcome that is a win. Rather, he said that's a sure way to lose your center, to lose your soul, to lose your very life, he says. For what will it profit you? What will you gain if you give up the core of who you are for some short-term decent outcome, but you lose your soul, you lose your life in the midst of that? That's not a good deal, says Jesus. And interesting to remember where this hits, Jesus is probably just as much preaching to himself at this moment, reminding himself that even though he has foretold, I think in the first time here in the Gospel of Matthew, I'm going to die. We're going to go to Jerusalem and I will be opposed. I'll be put to death. He does go on and say, I will then rise from the dead in 3 days, but Peter doesn't hear that. He hears, whoa, you're going to die. We don't want that. And Peter starts to try to go to work to shortcut and short circuit a process that Jesus knows is in store for him and knows that God's purposes are being worked out. So hopefully none of us will need to make that explicit, a following of Christ, but one doesn't know. Jesus says that the reward comes in following God's law, following all these, following the way that Jesus is setting before his disciples. That's where true life is found. There are details of outcomes, Jesus says, but the real outcome you need to care about is making sure always to keep centered on the call of God in your life, following that and not taking a shortcut, not bailing out when the times look a little challenging or a little tough. Stick with it, because that's where true life is found. That's where you'll meet God, in those dark and scary places, in those valleys. And things will come out of that process of following Christ, says Jesus. Things will come out of that are your true life, that are the richest reward. He says you don't want to give that up. Don't trade it in for something that's less than. Keep following. Be willing to walk away from and lose your life so that you can gain true life in this economy of God's love and God's purpose for you in your life. May God be with you as you take on that rather sobering but ultimately encouraging message from Jesus, one that he himself had to undergo and listen to. And may God be with you in that meditation. May God bless you and keep you this day and always. Amen.